Alright, so here I am again, ready to finish up that part about organic chemistry. I'm not going to finish it up, I'm just going to go to the next part. Hopefully, this one will be more interesting than the last one, and we'll have less pauses and awkward silences. Awesome. Alright, so last time I talked about connectivity, I explained that this is what oxygen looked like, and the reason I said that is because it was very important for today. Today we're going to talk about the carbon atom, the organic chemist's favorite molecule. So, carbon. He comes in with 4 electrons. As I mentioned before, electrons are like your soul if you're a chemical. They're like the part of you that makes you able to interact with the world around you. Okay, so maybe that's your language. Whatever. They're ideas, they're like currency, they are the bomb. Alright, yeah, with earthquake effects. So that's electrons. Well, and everyone wants 8. You know that. So carbon comes along, he wants 8, okay? This is carbon. You know why this is carbon? Because he's got 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So carbon with his 4 electrons, here he is in front of my face. So carbon with his 4 electrons is a little bit, you can see he's a little deformed. Like you'd like this to stretch out, right? That's how it's supposed to be. Well, what he's waiting for is for someone to come along and share an electron. So say you've got another carbon. This other carbon comes along, this is the other carbon, and he says, hey, you know, I've got only 4 too, but you know, if we share, then we'll have like, I'll have like 5, and you'll have like 5, and that'll be great. So the other carbon comes along, and this finger stretches out, and you got your bond going. Now, this other carbon, he's got a little trick to him. He's got 3 hydrogens attached to him. Now, hydrogen, if any of you are hydrogens, you probably don't know it. The rest of us, we know you're hydrogens. You're weird. Whereas everyone else wants 8 valence electrons. This is people, okay? This is something everybody wants. You don't seem to want that. You're different. You're like a freak. And that's a good thing. Because you only want 2. There's just something about the way you're set up that you're totally willing to take just 2 electrons. That's actually what you're striving for. And because of that, whenever you get into one of these sharing relationships, they're called covalent bonds, whenever you get into a sharing relationship like that, for some reason, the electrons always end up spending more time around the other person than around you. You're okay with that. You just kind of let them go. So, this carbon, back to our story, has 3 hydrogens attached to him. And then he bonds, pretend this arm is not here. There, now the arm is gone. And he bonds with this other carbon. Now these hydrogens, they're so willing to share their electrons with this carbon because they're so satisfied with just 2 electrons that while they're sharing with this carbon and you know borrowing its electron, so these hydrogens are all borrowing these electrons. Each one is borrowing an electron and giving an electron. They're okay with letting the electrons spend most of their time around the other carbon. Maybe you're like that, you know, like someone who's like, you know, I'm gonna give a little of myself, and that's okay. In this relationship, you know, don't let yourself be manipulated and stuff like that, but it's like, you know, I'm in this relationship to give to this other person. You get where I'm going with this? Now, here's the big thing. It may seem like a little thing to you. You're like, oh man, I mean, I'm getting this electron from this other person, and we're sharing electrons, and I love letting the other person have more electrons than I do. But the thing you don't know is that the person that other atom is connected to, so this carbon that you're connected to, the carbon that it's connected to benefits from your actions. Because as this carbon is less selfish, because he's getting all these electrons from his hydrogen friends over here, he realizes, you know what, I'm okay. I can share. And he shares electrons with this carbon down here. So that totally changes the way that all of these chemicals react. It is mind-boggling. In fact, in organic chemistry, there's 2 important things that you have to remember. One of them is called inductive effects, and that's the effect of giving electrons, electron donating groups. Incredibly important. Another one is the other we can talk about another day. But that's like huge. Hydrogens are these little things that are totally forgotten. In organic chemistry, when you write out a chemical, you might leave out the hydrogens and just write a squiggly, where the carbons are the little squigglies, and the hydrogens are invisible. No one cares about them. But this little act that this hydrogen does in this methyl, this whole thing is called a methyl when you have 3 hydrogens and a carbon, it's so important that it totally changes the way this central carbon reacts, because it means that this central carbon is taking electrons away from this methyl, and bam, it's huge. And in normal life, that's the way it is. Every little person, there's no such thing as a little person. The Bible says in many places that all of us are created equal, and God uses the weak to shame the strong. It's the same kind of thing. So if you feel like a hydrogen, like, you know, I'm so small and there's not a lot that I can do, I don't have a lot of electrons to share. I only have 1. You know, all hydrogens come with 1 electron. That's not a lot. And yet the little hydrogen shares that 1 electron so well, it just changes organic chemistry entirely. So, I mean, keep being a hydrogen. God will bless you for it. Alright, that's part 2, organic chemistry. Have a lovely day. Bye.